Hey everybody, welcome back to Camp in a Box. Today we're going to make our own comic strip. I'll be making a comic strip about the superhero that I created in earlier crafts as part of this box. You can make your comic about whoever you want, whether it's a superhero, maybe a Pokemon trainer. This video just teaches you the basics of how to get started drawing your own comic. In your box, you'll get a strip of white paper, which you'll cut in half to make 2 long strips. And you will also get our watercolor DIY kit. Things you'll need from home are a pair of scissors, a pencil, and a permanent marker. Before we start drawing, we need to figure out exactly what story we're going to tell. Are we going to make a comic about our own superhero, or are we going to make a comic about one of our popular and favorite superheroes, like Spider-Man or Batman? A great starting place when figuring out your story is to answer a few basic questions. Those are who, what, when, where, and why. You'll want to figure out who all is going to be in your story, where will your story take place and when, what is your main character struggling against, and why do they need to struggle against it. So, for example, my story has my main superhero and a couple of random citizens. It takes place in Santa Fe. The issue that my superhero is struggling against is that there's a fire somewhere in the city and she has to go save the people in the fire. Once you've decided on your story, it's time to start drawing the panels that you'll actually use to create your comic. Panels are like snapshots of your story. Every time that your character moves from one place to another or something important happens, you draw a new panel and then put that scene into the panel. You can use different sized panels to show your reader how important a scene is. So for example, if you're drawing a big panel, it might have a lot of scenery or be an action shot. Medium-sized panels might just be for dialogue or getting a closer look at your character. As you're drawing your panels, make little notes in pencil at the bottom of what's going to go on in that panel, so you don't lose track of your storytelling and you have the right sizes of panels for what you're trying to tell. Small panels are really handy for things that are happening outside of your character, like for example, a cell phone ringing or a stoplight changing. Large panels are also very useful for when your characters are having a conversation, but they're not moving. So if they're sitting on a couch or at a table. Once you have all of your panels drawn, it's time to outline all of them with a black marker. Once your panels are all outlined, you can grab your pencil and start drawing the scenes inside of the panels. You can use your notes at the bottom of your panels as a reference, but if your story changes while you draw, that's no big deal. Remember to draw boxes in your comic panels that will help convey conversations that your characters have. This is really iconic to comics, and there are several different styles you can use. At this point in your comic, you don't want to put in the final conversations in these dialogue boxes. Just make notes of the general conversation and keep drawing. Once you have finished all of your drawings in pencil, go back in with a permanent marker or a permanent pen and trace over all of your drawings. There are many different styles of comics out there, from superhero comics to the funnies that you find in the newspaper. You could stop following the video here and use your own supplies like markers or crayons to simply color in your comic as you see fit. For this comic, we're going to use watercolors to apply the majority of the colors to our comic panels. For big scenes, you can fill in different buildings or the sky with your watercolors, but for your smaller panels, just choose a color and paint your entire panel that color over the black lines. Once your watercolors are dry, you can go back in with markers or colored pencils or even paint to make certain colors pop. Once your watercolors are completely dry, take your permanent marker or a pen and trace back over your lines, because they might be a little bit faded after you've put color on top of them. Then you can start adding additional colors. Again, you can use anything like markers, colored pencils, or even paint. For this example, I stuck with using markers for little accents and then a little bit of white paint. Now, when I first started painting, I got a little bit too excited to use the watercolors and actually painted my entire dialogue boxes. Normally, dialogue boxes are completely white in classic comics, so I grabbed some white paint and painted over the dialogue boxes. You want the dialogue boxes to be a very light color, so it's really easy to read any words you put inside of them. If you left your dialogue boxes white to begin with, all you need to do is add your conversations and your comic's all done. Depending on the story that you want to tell, it could take a long time to draw out all of the panels and create all of the conversations. If you want to tell a longer story, that's completely okay. I would recommend only doing a couple of panels at a time and then taking a break and going outside and getting fresh air. That's exactly what I did while making this comic. Thanks for crafting with me today, guys. I look forward to seeing you in the next video. Bye-bye.